Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. And today we have ourselves some very good news for crypto. A couple of warnings, some very interesting crypto drama, and I think you guys will all enjoy this little update. Having said that, let's dive right into a very controversial update. It is regarding CoinDesk, and they said something about XRP/Ripple, which the community did not like. Now, this has two parts. The news that they're talking about is very good, but the wording that they used is so ridiculously sad that it left the community not so happy. So they basically said Ripple's blockchain now supports NFTs. The company wants to accelerate mass adoption of tokenization or representing ownership of real-world things through NFTs, Cam Learns Crypto reports. Now, that is not by definition something with bad intent from the fact that they're saying this is also positive, mass adoption, yada, yada, yada. The negative part comes in the phrasing, Ripple's blockchain. I think the majority of people in the world understand exactly what CoinDesk means, but the XRP community was rather divided or rather unhappy because it's not Ripple's blockchain. It's in the same sense the same thing as saying consensus is blockchain for Ethereum or things of that nature. At the end of the day, the XRP ledger is its own entity, and you can't really call it somebody's blockchain, specifically not a company's blockchain. Does Ripple hold a lot of XRP? Certainly. Does it make it theirs? No. And so that phrasing was most likely either done deliberately to put people on this path, or it's ignorance, and both of them I don't really appreciate or respect that much. And then again, can I really be sad about this? Can I go cry in a corner about this? No. It's just interesting to see how CoinDesk is treating this, and I'm not sure exactly why they've done this. That brings us back to the point though. There is some very good news, and that is indeed that there are now NFTs on the XRP ledger. That's a very big deal, you know? NFTs cannot be minted on XRP without impacting network security and stability. And finally, it went through. David Swartz said, thanks to the collective effort of the XRP Ledger community and Ripple X dev engineers, XLS20 is now available or enabled on the XP Ledger mainnet, and a few NFTs have already been minted. So as of that point, things are doing really good, and I really can't say anything negative about it except for bravo. In terms of the XRP community updates, there's actually a lot going on. A lot of it having to do with the regulatory side of things. You know, Coinbase joined the Ripple lawsuit, obviously. BitBoy joined the Ripple lawsuit. And there's more, I guess, back and forward about Gary Gensler a little bit, and just about some other parties joining in on Ripple's side. Valil Capital LLC has requested permission to file an amicus brief, and the Crypto Council for Innovation has requested permission to file for an amicus brief. There's just more and more and more parties joining in, trying to say that whatever the SEC is doing is wrong. And as we already described, and as I've described on Twitter many times, a lot of this is a little bit of a snowball effect. With the more players that actually join, the more players that open up to want to actually join. And so there's a very good chance that multiple different exchanges will actually join this battle as well in the next couple of days, but we'll have to see. I think Coinbase was the most important one, and I wouldn't say they're at the level of nice in their letter that I would have appreciated, but they're doing pretty good. And the fact that they're joining Ripple's side does showcase the fact that they most likely will get XRP back on there quickly after this lawsuit is finished. And that ultimately would be a very bullish thing, because if you guys remember, back in 2017-18, there was a lot of hype regarding XRP getting listed on Coinbase. And that is ultimately what brought XRP to its all-time high. The hype surrounding an XRP listing onto Coinbase. I know, I was there. I was covering XRP news almost every single day, so I know for a fact that was the biggest thing, because the day afterwards, when the all-time high came, Coinbase announced that they are not going to list XRP anytime soon, and that basically brought the price down. That's a fun fact. Coinbase was a lot more strict on their listings all the way back then. It's actually not that long. I think it's like only been 3 years that they've listed a lot of different cryptos like XRP. Well, that's only been on there for like a year and a half or something. It wasn't really on there for long. There was also this interesting article. Crypto winter only going to get worse, blockchain firm CEO says. Kathleen Brightman told CNBC's Karen, that easy money from venture capitalists, profit-seeking, and low interest rates had artificially inflated the valuations of many crypto firms. Now, I must admit that this is to a certain extent quite true. The actual valuation of a lot of crypto companies should be significantly lower, but I think the one thing that we do not look at in this case here is, as an individual investing, very often you're looking for short-term quick gains. As a capital investing, you're mostly investing in the future and the trends of tomorrow. And I personally think that the reason these crypto companies get a higher valuation than they should have, is because it's emerging tech. And it's hard to place a value on innovation because you don't know how disruptive it's going to be. And there's just so much more potential that is hard to measure in numbers, which you can easier measure in a number for a more set up company in a more set up, Web 2 type of company, for example, or niche. Even if the Fed pauses rate hikes next year, only the small minority of crypto applications that are truly useful and can organically grow users will thrive, she said. I absolutely disagree with this. I think the crypto space will thrive nonetheless. And it's the same thing as saying that 99% of the crypto projects will disappear over time. It's true, but a small minority is the most obvious thing in the world. To say that only the most truly useful and organically grow users will thrive, I don't think it's true at all. A lot of garbage things will be there. It will just be different garbage ones, because that's the way that things work. I mean, right now, for example, you could say if there's a major crash of any sorts, there'll still be garbage for sure. And even now, a lot of people call meme coins garbage, which is highly debatable. But the crypto space has crashed roughly 75%. Crypto coins, meme coins are still at the top of the top. So I don't know exactly what that's supposed to mean. I think I'm not exactly sure actually where she's going to with this. The CEO of Tezos is saying that because interest rates are going to be higher, that the crypto industry's winter is going to be only getting worse. Again, not 1,000% sure on exactly why that's supposed to be the case. A lot of this was inflated on cheap money. A lot of this was backed by basically VCs trying to pump. But even though interest rate gets higher, I'm not exactly sure why they wouldn't keep trying that in every single different market. As we can obviously think of, well, if the other markets become a lot less incentivized because they're more annoying or more crashy, then maybe they are just going to focus even more on crypto. I mean, if you take a look at the adoption perspective, companies like Microsoft, and we've seen that with Google and whatnot, they're investing heavily into the space, and it's not as if they're backing down or anything of the sort. Microsoft has invested in a Korean blockchain game company. WeMade also works on their MIR series of MMO games. I'm not really familiar with what exactly these guys do, but there was a new $46 million round, which includes Microsoft. We don't know exactly how much they put in, but we do know for a fact. These guys know this tech is going to continue on. These major VCs know as well. And even though some hype VCs that are trying to make a quick buck might not last or something like that, these bigger guys all know that this technology will do well over the next 3 years or so, and most likely it's the highest profit margins that they have in everything. Now, before I move on, I should actually tell you guys about something that I personally love a lot. I've actually said this before, but I met the guys from BuySwap over in the Binance Paris week, and ever since I met those guys, it's been my favorite decentralized exchange to use. Now, as we've said before, they have extremely low fees and a couple of very other nice features, like for example the exchange fee reimbursement, but also potentially their very nice multi-referral program where you can also earn a couple of bucks if you know a lot of people in the crypto space, I guess. Now again, before I move on, make sure you check out the link for this in the description down below, and just go ahead and check it out. But here's a couple other cool parts. So as I've said, and you guys got to understand this very well, they're listed over on Binance. I know the team personally, and when I'm telling you that there's a couple of good opportunities on here, I mean it. One of those things is these very, very high pools with a very juicy APY. Now, again, it is not for everybody, but these are things you got to take into consideration when you're getting yourself into DeFi. The same thing goes for the low percentage fee on a DEX. Very often people don't mind a 0.1, a 1% or 2% fee on their transfers because, well, if you're trying to transfer a lot of money, a lot of it just needs to be done quickly. You might not care about exactly the details of it. In crypto with Ethereum, for example, it could cost you a couple $100 before to send something anyway. A lot of people did not care, but potentially when you're actually trading, the fee does matter a significant amount, which is why both of these parts, the fee reimbursement and the lowest exchange fee, matter a lot. Here's, by the way, what the new swap feature looks like. It is personally pretty cool, and it also explains a little bit about the different reimbursements that you get. Obviously, swapping things is pretty damn easy, and you can read about it for yourself right here. You can see exactly how it all works. I might have talked about this before, I'm not 1,000% sure, but they also partner up with Binance in a couple of different ways. Like, for example, now the Binance Connect feature, which is basically just an easy way to integrate Binance with a DEX. It's just basically for if you want to buy things on the DEX with fiat money, for example, you can use it through Binance Connect, and it's just an easy way to do things. And in terms of, by the way, of how are they doing all that type of stuff, they just partnered up with some other guys that I know over in Dubai right here, GrizzlyFi. Talked about it before in some video, I think a little while ago. You see all the stats right here, full transparency and everything. The token burn that they're going for, you can check it all out over in their monthly report, in this case here for October, which is, fun fact I didn't even know, the 17th month of activity. It's interesting for me actually to look back a little bit at how they've done over the last couple of months in that way, I guess. Because again, I've only known them for a little while, but I love the team, love the people, and love the ideas. I think they're going to become the biggest But yeah, they've done quite a lot over the last. Is this all from the last month? Yeah, I guess so, because this is from when we were in Paris, which by the way was really, really nice. But yeah, again, if you ever need to trade something in the decentralized space, just check out the link down below. Go ahead and check it out. Because personally, I think for the BNB chain, this is by far the best decentralized exchange out there. And at the end of the day, I think the BNB chain is not necessarily up and coming. It's already very much out there. But I think it's overall just the, yeah, I'd say for me, most used ecosystem. But yeah, without further ado, just check it out. A link is going to be down below. And let's move on with the next piece of news, as we have a little bit of cool stuff to cover still. There's a little bit going on with Celsius. Bankruptcy judge advances probe into whether Celsius operated as a Ponzi scheme. A court-appointed examiner and a committee of Celsius creditors will confer about who will lead an investigation into the crypto lender's use of customers' money. This is going to be very interesting, but I just smacked my microphone. I wanted to say I don't have the full details yet on what will come out of this. We all just know, well, Celsius is being investigated quite heavily. Did they do some fraudy stuff? Did they operate as a Ponzi scheme? Did they use new money to pay old? All that stuff is being investigated. It's good, but obviously we don't have the results. So all we can just say is, hey, they're looking into it right now, which is very, very good. And hopefully they're going to grab these if they did something wrong with customers' money, because that is awful. But that's all we can say for right now. And then for all my XLM Stellar holders, this is pretty interesting. As you guys know, Stellar MoneyGram partnership a little while ago, and MoneyGram apparently announces plans to allow users to buy and sell crypto. I'm not sure exactly through what different way they want to do this. I guess because it's MoneyGram, they might want to just use this on their own platform. I know they worked around, or I guess partnered up with CoinMe, which I did not know before, but I'm mostly just wondering exactly how they're going to facilitate this on their own platform and what different cryptos will be available to buy. At this point, it says the service will allow you customers in nearly all U.S. states in the District of Columbia to sell and hold crypto such as Bitcoin, Ether, and Litecoin. Again, it does not include XRP in the list as of this point, but I'm not exactly sure where to find it anyway, a full list of the different cryptos. And again, MoneyGram recently invested in CoinMe a little while ago, and now they're doing a strategic partnership to facilitate this transfer. Yeah, this is going to be a very, very interesting next couple of months. Because as far as I'm concerned, the crypto space is ever growing, and honestly, it is going pretty crazy. There are many people out there who would like to say, oh yeah, but we can get a crazy crash, but things are not doing that well or can go worse. Can things get worse? Sure. But I always think it could get slightly worse, but a whole lot better. And most likely it'll only get better if you just zoom out a little. If you don't look at the next 2 weeks, the next month or two, but if you look at the next 3 years, for example, I personally think things are going to get really, really nice. And that is why I always just accumulate. Because if I zoom out, I personally don't think there's any real good chance that we're going to fail. But again, that is my personal opinion on the matter, not financial advice. If you're looking for a DEX to trade, check out BuySwap. A link is down below. Just check it out for yourself. See if you like it. I personally use it all the time. But hey, I guess I use a lot of DeFi stuff and have a lot of coins to transact on the Binance Smart Chain. If that's not you, no problem. But just check it out because they're pretty cool people. And again, guys, that was it for today's little crypto update. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it. Crypto is not going anywhere, I personally think, except for up. No, that's not true. It might go down a little bit, but I mean, in terms of adoption, you can see it all in these articles. It just keeps on increasing. And a little crash in terms of price might be, but crash in terms of adoption, I don't believe that. Even Google's getting into it. BlackRock's getting into it. These behemoths are getting into it. You might be manipulated to think that prices are going down, but I personally think that's all a bigger scheme in the grand scheme of things. With the Ripple lawsuit finishing as well this or next year, things are going to start going really, really hard for crypto adoption, I personally think, rather soon. And that's all you need to know for now. See you guys later in another one.